So I'm sorry, I keep dying. Now this is part 3 of the same video. I will have to look and see how long these videos are because my phone may be cutting me off after a certain amount, or not my phone, but my camera may be cutting me off, and there may be some setting internally that I can change for that. I am almost done, so but yeah, I have a number of these pages, and I have a couple other, there's a floral one, and I would like to get a few more. So I'm buying used books in kind of acceptable condition if I can't find them at my library, but I know there's a title like this one I saw on somebody else's video, and someone had asked what book it was, and this is Undercliff. Let's see if I have the, yeah, here. There's two different versions of the cover. One has something else on the front that it's a bird in flight. By The Undercliff by Elaine Franks, and it's a sketchbook of the Axmouth Lyme Regis Nature Reserve, which I guess is near the cliffs of Dover in England. And then I found one by Edith Wharton that's more floral, and I picked up this used, and I want to get a copy for myself. Leaves, Myth, Magic, and Medicine. But the images from this book are utterly, they're simplistic, but they're gorgeous in their own way. So you get this kind of, and this would work nicely. It's a little bit shorter than I like, but the pages are certainly wide enough. This could be a fun little journal too for bullet journaling, but it has this kind of green on cream paper, and I really like the images, but it's all leaves and like stuff like that. So just some fun stuff here. This one is I don't have my glasses on. This is kudzu, which is Bane of the South, and that's, I don't know how to pronounce that, cat. So the illustrations are you know, pretty beautiful, and I like the style of the art. And this would make, you know, some of these would make really nice covers on a smaller journal, or maybe I could combine pages and get something plainer at the top and have a nice botanical image at the bottom. So I'm searching out this type of book right now, and I bought 3 copies for a couple dollars a piece of the Undercliff through eBay and Amazon, and not much in the way of shipping. So, and they were, like I said, I bought acceptable copies. I was assured by the seller that there was no writing in them because I didn't want any highlighting or writing inside the book, but they were kind of falling apart anyway. So he went ahead and got the ones. I didn't buy any that were in really good condition to do this with, because even if a few of the pages were damaged, in owning 3 copies of it, I'm assured that I can get the right mix of text and pictures into a book to have fun with. Now this would obviously have to be cut down, but you can choose where you want to cut it. So let's say I cut this up here, you know, if I were doing this and I wanted that to be the bottom, but I wanted more of the words and stuff up here, I could continue to bring it down until I got maybe somewhere like that. And so maybe even a little bit lower if I wanted to keep those images up there. So I could figure out a way to trim it so that I still get this fun stuff up here, but I get the main image at the bottom, just maybe not the very edge of that, which is not quite as exciting as, but yeah, so the owl image in here is my favorite one, and I would definitely be doing a book with that on the cover. And I have 3 of them, and then I also have an affinity for the story of, is it Arachne? The spider, the woman that was turned into a spider in Greek mythology. There's a lovely picture in all of those pages of a spider, and it's just a regular, but it's a kind of a close-up drawing of it, and it's just gorgeous. So that one will probably go on a cover as well. So this will be my first one, and for the signatures I've been doing just a ton of tea dyeing. This page is done with beet juice. I've eaten a lot of beets lately, because I don't just buy even though canned beets are cheap, I don't like to be wasteful. So when I beet dye, I have to eat 4 to 6 cans of beets in a fairly short amount of time. But I love the modeling on this paper. That's where it sat on the surface before I submerged it again. And so you got lighter and darker. This is one that some of these pages, they were stapled in the middle. It's an instruction manual from a chair that we bought for my son. He got an ergonomic gaming chair for his birthday. But I laid the pages out in the double section underneath where the containers that I have the tea or the coffee in. And so I got lovely splattering patterns, and then I would take the tea bags out and just clump them on papers. So I got some of these that they're really grungy, kind of nasty looking, but I really like the effect. And of course, my favorite thing about all of this is this lovely crinkly noise that you get from, you know, it's essentially water damaged paper, but when you throw coffee and tea on it, it's okay. I even tea dyed some of the scrapbooking paper. And this is some ledger paper, and this is a little bit longer. I actually cut this one down, but I have some in other journals where I kept the length on one side and did it as a fold over. And then I cannot figure out, now there are a number of, this is reinforced because the paper is thinner. But let's see if I can find an example. I don't think I have any pages from a book in here. I had 2 pages from a book, and I wanted the, let's see if I can find one. Of course, now that I want to find it, I won't be able to. No, okay, well, I can demonstrate here. This is a page from a book. And so it's been folded over and the words are going not this way, which is how I would really prefer them. And I see lots of people, I don't know if they're getting gigantic books or the signatures are smaller. Oh no, I've done a terrible thing. Okay, so that needs to be taken out. Yeah, that's right. And this was kind of somewhere in there. I'll figure it out later. I'm not married to the layout. But where in the case of, I had 2 book pages that were smaller. Let's say they were mass market paperback size. And I'm not going to be able to pull anything out of my stack. Because here. I had something like this where it's dip dyed. I dip dyed in some book pages. So I wanted the pages to be upright like you're reading a book. But with the page size, you know, I would either fold it this way, and so you would have a very small amount of the paper if I could do it this way. So I did essentially what is, I know, get your shit together, right? I did essentially this. So I took another scrap of paper. This one is blank music paper, but I have a variety of papers that I used. Some matte papers and stuff like that. These are going to turn into pockets, tuck spots and stuff like that. But I did that with, I have some of these pages. I've been dip dyeing chunks of book pages, so you get this kind of really pretty effect on all the pages. And I've done 4 or 5 colors, and I wanted to use them. So I took this method and took 2 pages and did this, and then I glued something like that on there. So I have basically a page for my signature that's like this, and it looks really cool in the book. So of all of this, it must be in this one over here. There's probably, because I did 3 of them, so they must be in these 3 signatures right here. I think what some of them must be doing, because a lot of people use a sewing machine for this, and I haven't got one, and it is on my wish list of things I really want to have, where they must have overlapped the pages ever so slightly, like this, and sewn down this part and then put it in the book. Or alternatively, for people who don't have sewing machines, I suppose I could have just glued it down like this and waited for it to dry, and I would have got the same effect. But I kind of like the contrast. I think it's fun. If I had only glued it here and here and here and here, I could have had a little tuck